All right, hey guys, here are my responses and answers to the interview questions for this assignment. What makes you the best candidate for this position? I believe that I'm the best candidate for this position because I come from a communications background. I received my undergraduate degree in communication arts and literature, so I'm very comfortable speaking to people, receiving communications from people, and I feel that I have the kind of personality that I can weed through what might not be and what is important and be able to communicate that to the officers and to administration as needed. Two, what challenges are you looking for in this position? I think the biggest challenge that I'm looking for in this position is uh, how do I how do I best serve the public? It's difficult to take someone who's in crisis and find a way to best help them in that situation. That's the challenge that I'm looking forward to the most. Uh, it's also my desire to kind of get into the police work, and so I feel like this would be a good way to start to understand how not only does dispatch work, but how police units as a whole begin to operate in solving crisis situations. And I'm very much looking forward to understanding and meeting the challenge of helping people to the best of my abilities. Three, what is your greatest weakness? Well, my greatest weakness is I've never operated any of this dispatched equipment before. I have no experience in that situation. So I think what would be difficult is just learning how to navigate the computer and the telephones. But I feel like that's something that won't be an issue to me because, like I said earlier, I'm a college graduate. I'm proficient in all Microsoft and Mac iOS platforms. So after the initial learning curve, I don't feel it to be a big issue, but I could see it being an issue right off the bat because I definitely don't have very much experience with this software. Four, this position will require a person with a high level of organizational skills. Describe how you plan to stay organized while performing the duties of this position. Well, I plan on keeping strict notes. I'm a note taker, so I always have a task book with me that I kind of plan my to do lists. So what I plan to do is I plan to keep organized at my workstation, kind of the priorities of calls that have come in, to take a look and see if there's a person that is a constant caller. Is that something that I can start to deal with? Um, I will also start to better understand which calls go where and how to best respond to them. And then I also feel like just keeping a clean and tidy workplace is the best way to stay organized. I think once you start losing your workspace, you can quickly fall behind and not be able to perform to your best. Number five, how will you adapt to a changing workplace culture and demands? I'm a very flexible person. I can go and adapt and change with the best of them. Um, I feel like for a agency to grow, it needs to be changing and it needs to be adapting constantly. The people we serve, they don't have the same needs every day. So we need to be able to change to meet those needs and we need to adapt to best serve them. So I don't see that being an issue to me. I think what comes from strong leadership is the ability to follow that example. So I very much look forward to working with the people of this great department and this great agency to see kind of what the expectation is when it comes to dealing with demands of changing, my workplace culture. All right, chapter. Question number 6. What does public service motivation mean to you? Um, Public service motivation to me is getting the most out of me and the department to best serve the public. Um, you don't sign up to be in dispatch. You don't sign up to be a police officer. You don't sign up to be a civil servant without being motivated to serve the public. So every day that I come in, it would be who am I going to help today? How am I going to help them? How am I going to most efficiently and effectively help them? What can I do to be prepared every day in my job to make sure that the people of this town receive the best care from the police service. And I take pride in knowing that I'm going to be a part of that. So my motivation is just knowing that I can impact lives with every phone call that comes my way every day. I'm very excited for that possibility. Question 7. Can you give examples in your past history where you have excelled in high pressure situations? In my past jobs, I've worked in an agency where we've dealt with microbursts, and we had to deal with various different agencies working together, fire personnel, police, public works, and we had to coordinate all those organizations to best serve the public. So we were working through, emergency control systems that had a central hub, and that I was able to work there, and we were able to use our National Incident Management System training, or NIMS training, to use a common language to best send fire personnel here, or public works here, or police here, to best serve the people. So we were able to bring 3 agencies together for one purpose and use that to help the citizens deal with the flooding and microburst, trees downs, and all that through that situation. And so I was really excited to be in that situation, especially working in the command center and relaying information from citizens to management, and then from management to workers, and just getting people coordinated to where they needed to go. And then question 8, how would you rate your communication skills, and is there a difference in communication between an emergency and non-emergency call? Well, as I stated earlier, I have a degree in communication, so I feel my communication skills are very high. And of course, there's a definite difference between an emergency and non-emergency call. In an emergency call, I'm going to need to really listen and really be able to disseminate the information that might be coming in a belligerent or very confused way. I'm going to need to ask the appropriate guiding questions to get information on what I need. I'm going to need to be that calming influence to that person on the phone to help them focus and get the information that I need. In a non-emergency call, not that it's not important, but it's important in a different way. I need to focus on customer service. I need to make them feel understood and heard, because in a non-emergency call, it could be something, dog is missing, or a cat's up in a tree, but it could be something even crazier and off the wall. And people who tend to think that we are there to solve every one of their problems need to be understood, and they need to feel heard and appreciated. And so it would be my job as a dispatcher to take those calls, and no matter how I feel on the inside, to convey the appearance and the feeling that every call is important, every person's important, and that we're there to be the best stewards of the resources and the best providers of service that we can inside the police department. So those were my 8. Hope that works out well, and I look forward to seeing the rest of you guys.